Oh, you can feel it, you can sense it, you can see it, probably smell it. A weekend is right over there. It's right around the corner. We just have to get through Friday, which kind of feels like a Thursday because it's a short work week. We don't care. Welcome to it, everybody. We're going to make it awesome. Thanks for finding me. Thanks for finding Wicked Radio live stream, part of Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams. Thanks for by the way, once we're done with the live stream, the audio podcast will be available wherever you like to get those as well. Do me a favor. Follow right here on X because we've got more things coming up and there's more eyeballs on the live stream than ever these days for whatever reason. I don't know. People found me. The algorithm's working with me. I have no idea. Who cares? But do that and share it. Thanks so much. Welcome to it. Hey, there's a theme of all the stories today, and it's going to sound like it's unfortunate at first and frustrating. But I'm going to tell you it's a good thing. People in charge of many policy decisions and media companies and influencers in this country, a lot of them think you and me and everybody else, normal, everyday Americans, they think we're stupid. And you'll see that in all the stories today that are making headlines. And my response to you and my message to you is, good. This is exactly what you want. Now, your first reaction would be, well, that's insulting. I don't want anybody thinking I'm stupid and putting the American people down and the working class man and woman. Good. This is exactly where you want to be. And the more clueless they get, the more powerful you and I are. A couple of examples of that coming up. The first one being, how often did you hear this week? Elon got fired. He got fired. Well, Trump doesn't give a press conference, which will be happening today, to somebody that he is fired from the administration. By the way, he wasn't even an employee of the administration. He wasn't a government employee. And it looks as though those Doge cuts will be implemented after all. Well, take a guess. At least some of them. I don't know. It's a start. We've got that to talk about. The other person that thinks you're stupid, we're stupid, is Jake Tapper, who will not stop covering up for mainly himself in the Biden brain cover-up. And I thought it was just to sell a book. It's mainly a cover-up. We'll get into that as well. But the biggest story, the most important one of all, is my favorite story of the week so far. And it kind of held off until they found their first influencer to get it done. What I'm talking about is, this is the greatest thing. It's hilarious. And it shows you how clueless they are. We all know the numbers that the Democrats just have lost. Well, lots of different demographics. Hispanics, black males is also a number that's not voting for them. More importantly, though, they've lost young men in the 18 to 25 category. Like they're gone. Like they're just not voting for Democrats at all. And here's the greatest thing. They can't figure out why. They don't know it. So here's the first part of it, which I think is just great. And this news actually came out on Monday, and it's been a while, but it's not going away, which tells me it turns out to be true. Here it is. You ready? The Democrats, that particular party, and I'm not trying to make this about a Democrat, Republican, then whatever. It's just that they were so confident for so long that they had this particular group of society that they got really cocky until they lost them. They're spending, this is from the New York Times, they're spending a $20 million ad sweep campaign, ads, $20 million, targeting young men they've lost in elections. So you know what this means when an ad agency is involved. They've got consultants and they've got ad agency executives to tell them, well, this is what men really want. This is what these young college-age men really are into. It's a campaign tentatively labeled SAM, or Speaking with American Men. Not fully approved or funded yet, but it would put the party strategy in front of young men online, getting party messaging added to video games as well, because it's true. That's a massive, streamers and video games, and Trump figured that out in the election. He understood it. So they're going to target young men. So to get this done, this is why I held off on the story, to see where it goes. I wanted to see who the first personality to come out with this was. Because you need an influencer to get this done, right? You need the first influencer to get this out. And I thought it would be somebody like Noodle Arm David Hogg, or who is the transgender that sunk the Bud Light campaign? I thought it would be that one or something clueless. No. The person that they've chosen, the first one to get out the messaging to try to reach young men, you ready? Is a person called Olivia Juliana. A very large, very obese young woman who's a political influencer, I guess. And I only say about the body type thing, I'm not just to pick on her. It actually is relevant to the story. You'll find out here in a second. So Olivia Giuliana is making the, I guess, the podcast interview rounds, and she's going to be the first face of the Democrats' plan to win young men and get their votes. This is one of the podcasts she did the day before yesterday, explaining how, well, she goes to college campuses and she talks to these so-called conservative young men that the Democrats don't understand, and she understands what they're all about. She loves them, and she says they're more like us being her.
I love frat guys, and in that I realized like even the ones that identify as conservative are almost always pro-choice. They're almost always pro-gay marriage. You'd be surprised at the number of them who supported Black Lives Matter. And so I feel like people just kind of lump them into this box when the truth is, again, a lot of them are with us on the issues. They're just not part of our coalition because they feel like they're not welcomed in it.
Let me give her credit, or at least she understands that they don't feel represented by really them, who the Democrats thought they were. Okay, that's fine. But here's what, oh boy, here's what she also doesn't understand. Young dudes, high school or college age, also like to prank you. They love to get surveyed on college campuses. They'll give the exact wrong answer. Maybe they're telling her the truth. But she's also not the kind of person they're going to open up to. Let me say that way. She's not exactly the frat girl kind of type, which goes back to the original thing. To choose her as the first person to reach young men, I'm sorry, nobody wants to say it, but it's the God's honest truth. You need a hottie if you're going to do that. If you're going to find a female political influencer, find somebody that most just regular young dudes on college campuses would find really hot. That's not her. And I only say that, I know it sounds nasty, but it's part of the story. They specifically chose her to target young men and to find out what they're all about. There's your first mistake. But to spend $20 million and to find social media influencers and to try to find out, how do we speak to young men? And one of the first things they came up with that came out of this, the next follow-up article was, we're not using the right wording. Oh my God. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sure. That's why you're losing young men in droves. Sure. It couldn't be that over the past, I'll be kind to them, I'll call it 10 years. It couldn't be that, you called young dudes toxic masculinity. You said that being a boy and doing boy type things is wrong. It couldn't be that. So when they were young kids, that's the first thing they heard. It couldn't be that, in their baseball games, you told them that there's no winner. It's that everybody gets it. Everybody gets to play, and we're not keeping scores, and everybody gets a trophy. It couldn't be that. No, it couldn't be that. It couldn't be that when they get to high school age and then through college, you, the same media people from the left, it couldn't be that you told them that they're homophobic or transphobic if they refused to date a transgender person. It couldn't be that. It also couldn't be that you chose as your main influencers and the main people you thought would represent them, people like little noodle-armed David Hogg, who's everywhere, who this little wimp who you let into Harvard with awful grades because he was pro-gun control. He was going to be your leader. And then you elected him the co-chair of the DNC recently. It couldn't be that. It couldn't be that in the hiring practices when they actually get into the workforce, you excluded young men. And you, first of all, you couldn't get into college if you were a white, middle-class young man. You were already discriminated against for that. And then in the workforce, you would be the first to be fired and the last to be hired. It couldn't be that. It couldn't be all of these discriminatory practices and the talking down to them and telling them they're bad and middle-class, middle-of-the-road patriotic kids who were conservative and, God forbid, they were Christian in the middle of the country. You told them that they were wrong about everything. It couldn't be that, could it? Could it really? No, it couldn't be that. Sure, go with your plan. It's how you spoke to them. It's the wording, right? And you didn't have the right influence. Sure, right. You've constantly put down young men, you've demonized them, you've tried to feminize them, you've said that their heroes should actually be the sensitive men and the feminists and the transgenders. It couldn't be that you've left them, and you still don't get it. So spend your $20 million. Keep on sending out the Olivia Giulianas of the world to try to reach young men because you're clueless. And the main takeaway, and this is especially for you young dudes, this proves once and for all what you've always suspected. The political class type people in this country, they think you're stupid. They think you're stupid and you can be molded into whatever they want. And you rejected it. Good. Absolutely. Good for you. This is a good thing. Any large influence, the real decision maker, the power players, the power brokers in our country, in our society, when they think you're stupid, good, because they're not going to see it coming. Because they certainly didn't see this happening. They still don't understand why why young, for the most part, conservative men have left the Democratic Party. Good. Good for you. Absolutely. I can't wait to see because they're not going to give up. So they're committed to this thing. So who the next influencer is going to be, God knows. I don't know. We'll see. Good. That's excellent. You should take it. All right, here's the other thing. Here's another reason why they think we're all stupid. How often did you hear it this week? Elon got fired. Good. And this is mainly from all the politicians. Trump has finally come to his senses and fired Elon. First of all, you dopes. No, you're trying to tell us that. Elon wasn't a government employee. His time as leader of DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, was ending as scheduled. Well, it turns out he's still going to be involved. He has a day job. He has many companies to run, right? And trying to get us to Mars one day. But if someone is fired and going away, which they're trying to tell you, and they're trying to tell me, you don't get a press conference. Here's Trump's announcement just yesterday on Truth Social. I'm having a press conference tomorrow at 1:30 p.m., which, of course, probably means like 3. Those things are always late. With Elon Musk at the Oval Office. It'll be his last day, but not really, because he will always be with us, helping the way. Elon is terrific. See you tomorrow at the White House. So Elon's not quite done yet. There was even I saw a headline in the Daily Mail yesterday, the UK online outlet, which said it was something to the effect of Elon's unceremonious and weak send-off. They literally are giving him a press conference. I wouldn't expect that to go away. And this may, for me and everybody else that wants to see these Doge cuts codified, this may allay our fears a little bit. I'm interested in seeing what they're going to say. But this made me feel really good because it was in the key wording here. So this guy is a California representative who's turning out to be pretty awesome. Brandon Gill. He's a young dude. And being from California, has fought the nonsense of the politicians in his state his whole career, and now he's on a national stage. Brandon Gill was on one of the financial shows yesterday. Might have been Fox Business. I don't think it was CNBC. And he was talking about these Doge cuts and the update, what he's hearing as a member of Congress, because they're going to get this rescission bill back to Congress, and he's going to be one of the people, back to the House, excuse me. He's going to be one of the people voting on it. What does he say about it? It's a little long, but listen to what he says at the end.
I don't think that we can get these rescission bills done fast enough. I think this is something the American people have been demanding that we actually execute on. They don't just want hearings. They don't just want talk. They want this money clawed back. So what I'm hearing now is that we're going to get a rescission bill Monday that will pull back money from NPR and PBS, two left-wing propaganda outlets that get over $500 million every year. We're also going to claw back money from USAID. I think that's a great start, but we've got a lot more to do after that.
Well, good. See, he said start there, which is the good part of the message. It sounds like it's going to be a drop in the bucket, big, but a drop in the bucket compared to the amount of the entire budget. And I understand that. I understand that everybody's pissed off at that. I get it. I want the cuts too. But if somebody like that, Brandon Gill, is saying it's a start to common sense spending and cutting back all of this wasteful spending, there's hope yet that Doge isn't going away and these cuts will continue to happen going forward. I'm going to hope so. We'll see. We'll see what happens at the press conference. But Trump says it's at 1:30 p.m. If that thing is on time, I'll be more shocked than that. They're never on time, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what Elon has to say about it, too. Because the thing that worried me about Elon's messaging throughout the week, talking about Doge, was I tried. I didn't like that. So let's see what they do. But again, just like I told you yesterday, your voice was heard to get these things done. So let's hope. Here's another guy that thinks we're stupid. But I thought at first it was just to sell the book. But I think it's a cover for everybody like him in the media that covered for the Biden brain disaster. Jake Tapper we're talking about, of course. You have probably seen, whether you wanted to or not, 10, 12 Jake Tapper clips or interviews. Well, here's another one for you. Here's another one. I think this was on Stephen A. Smith, where he's saying the same messaging here. We were misled. It wasn't our fault. This is supposedly a journalist, Jake Tapper, CNN, in his show, who says, well, we were misled. It's not our fault. Why does he get away with saying this so far? Again, because he thinks we're stupid, but also gives cover to all the other media outlets who are all turning on the Bidens all of a sudden as if they didn't know. Jake, just yesterday.
Who were as aggressive on this topic as we should have been, could have been, and I'm certainly including myself in this. I'm not including Alex.
Yeah.
But that said, this also was a cover-up. This was the Biden family and
you. And you couldn't see through it? You're supposedly a journalist. You had guests on. Remember the famous Lara Trump interview where he yelled at her when she first brought up his cognitive disability? And this was 2022, 2021, I think. Yelled at her. It's just a stutter. He was one of the main culprits buying this crap. He knew damn well, don't let these people fool you and tell you that they didn't know that this guy was not running anything in the White House because they're trying to run for cover. Most likely, maybe, because then they know the auto pen scandal is coming out and they will get subpoenas and they'll find out who was running the government. They have their suspicions so far. Jake Tapper also, along with everybody else, they think you're dumb. Good. Let them. Because you can see right through them once you realize that. All right, here's another thing. I think we've finally reached the point now, and this is interesting. So Hawaii. Now, remember Hawaii? Just a couple of years ago with that horrific Maui fire. They investigated, much like the LA fires. They realized that state resources were not up to par, and their state emergency system was not quite there yet. And yet they still tax to the heavens their residents and especially the tourists. Well, there's more tax coming to it. Hawaii is now instituted, and now it is law, a new tax called the climate tax. This is Hawaii's Governor Josh Green just after signing it yesterday. Does it make you think you might want to make a decision on where you vacation? Maybe not yet, but let's find out where the money's going.
I hope that the world is watching, because having something that is a balance between industry and environment is going to be the way to go forward to protect your people.
Okay, what's this money? What does it mean to regular people? Well, it raises $100 million a year for climate green initiatives and supposedly protecting, state resources. And it's just like any other state government. When they do this, they never really explain who or where the money's going to. They never break it down. They never do it. Everybody just forgets about it. So it's a 0.75% tax increase to the tax that they already have for tourism. There's an 11% tax to tourists who go to Hawaii at all. And we all know Hawaii. If you've been to Hawaii, you know how expensive it is. Food, hotels, just travel within the state itself to the different islands. All of it is expensive. And then on top of this, mainly because of the climate tax, have we reached the point, this is just a question, where you start to look at where you vacation, where the money's going? Because I don't think this is going to have an effect whatsoever at first. I really don't. Your dream vacation to go to Hawaii, an extra 0.75% of the taxes you're already paying. Is it going to matter to that many people? Probably not. Not at first. What if we find the next major scandal out of that state? Or what if we have another, God forbid, natural disaster where nothing was taken care of? Because this is supposed to go to state resources and protection. What if there's another Maui incident where homes burned down, they didn't have enough water, and they didn't sound remember that? They didn't sound the alarm in time for their state residents. If that happens again, and now you go back to this day and you remember this tax that was supposed to go towards that, is it enough to keep you away from going to that state and supporting them? Even as beautiful as it is? Dream vacation state? It is for me. I think we've reached that point. I really do. It's not a boycott. That's another thing. I heard that. All the comments on this news story. Oh, my God. MAGA's dumb enough to boycott Hawaii. God's good for us. Is it a boycott? Or are you just being smart on which state governments you support? I think we've reached that point. Almost. Not yet. But soon it's coming. Soon. Because if they have another state disaster when they're charging all this money to tourists to prevent state disasters, I'm not going to give him a dime. We'll see. But let's hope that doesn't happen. We'll see. I hope you do get to Hawaii someday, but save some money somehow. And I hope you have a great weekend. It is the week. Well, we got to get through Friday, but we're at the weekend. When you're doing that, the audio podcast will be posted. It's usually about 9 a.m. Eastern time. Wherever you like to get your podcast, do me a favor. If you're watching the live stream and the replay on X, a lot more eyeballs these days. Press the follow button. You got a friend in me forever. And also the Wicked Radio live stream, part of Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams on all the social media platforms. So that's what it is, and that's what it be. Have a wicked awesome weekend. Have a great time. Enjoy your freedom. Be safe. We'll gather here again on Monday to talk about all kinds of stuff. I'm interested to see what Elon is going to say at this press conference today about the Doge cuts. We'll see. I don't know. Don't believe that it's going to be a 1:30, though. Those things are always late. Have a wicked awesome weekend. I'll talk to you later.